So even mainstream outlets are adding in Aquaman as the reason for Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet's divorce. And the interesting thing here is you notice they split off Aquaman from Hollywood success, basically saying that it was a factor with Hollywood success, but also it was a standalone factor as well. This stuff, it's interesting too. You and I, we're going to talk about that today. Fun times, huh? Fun times indeed. Oh man, so hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently. And you know, this article, it surprised me a bit. Not necessarily because of the conversation about Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet, but because of where it was coming from. See, we've already heard Aquaman come up from sources like Pop Topic. You should check Pop Topic out, by the way. They're interesting, but beyond that, they do not shill for Warner. They do not shill for that certain Aquaman starlet, and they like to connect to sources and discuss what's going on. But to see not one but two mainstream outlets that have shilled Aquaman, that shill Warner, and that shill that certain Aquaman starlet come out and say Hollywood success, it caused this. Also Aquaman, it caused this. Yeah, you know, that really caught me off guard. Now listen to this here. Celebrity couples often look like they are as happy as any two human beings could possibly be, and in some cases that might turn out to be true. But as with any relationship, what appears to be is not always true, and that leads to shock when a couple announces a split. Such was the case when it was recently revealed that after nearly 2 decades together, Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet are calling it quits, and it might be Aquaman's fault. Now, they have a source that discusses this too, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But in case you missed the announcement, this is what Jason Momoa had to say on Instagram. And interestingly, when I went to pull this up on Instagram, it dead linked. It was no longer there from a lot of source sites. So I'm wondering if this has been taken down. But it was posted. I saw it myself. Let me read this to you really quickly. We have all felt the squeeze and changes of these transformational times. A revolution is unfolding, and our family is of no exception, feeling and growing from these seismic shifts occurring. And so we share our family news that we are parting ways in marriage. We share this not because we think it's newsworthy, but so that as we go about our lives, we may do so with dignity and honesty. The love between us, it carries on, evolving in ways it wishes to be known and lived. We free each other to be who we are learning to become, our devotion unwavering to this sacred life in our marriage, teaching our children what's possible, living the prayer, may love prevail, and they have a signature here. Now, what I find curious in the mainstream's coverage of all of this is that they quote unnamed sources just like other places do. They talk about the same framing of this discussion, but they're not willing to go as far in said discussion. I want to read you what they say here. They're talking about success. They're talking about distance. But remember, they also brought Aquaman up as its own entity. Hollywood success and Aquaman as a contributing factor. Now, the curious thing about their source is they bring up distance. You can see how they cover this. The source says that Momoa, who is much more in demand as an actor right now than he was even a few years ago, is enjoying the work and wants to continue the work as much as possible. This has kept him away from home a lot in recent years, and wife Lisa Bonet is happiest living at home in Los Angeles, not traveling the world with her husband. While many couples have to deal with distance, not all are able to make it work. And they go on from there to talk about certain series like, say, Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, by the way, it pops off in 2011. That's not recent at all. We're talking about 10 years after the fact. And again, they make this curious distinction where they split off Aquaman from the rest of their talking points. Like I said, you can see that mentioned in the title right here. Did Aquaman and Hollywood success. Again, they make it its own distinct thing, but they don't want to go too far into that subject. Why? Because, well, they shill a lot for Warner. They probably get a lot of advertising dollars for that. And yeah, when you start talking about them in any negative connotation whatsoever, yeah, watch that dry up and quickly. Now, the thing that really fascinated me about the mainstream coverage of this is that the sources that the mainstream are quoting, they sound just like the sources that other places, like, say, Pop Topic, are quoting, with the difference being that the mainstream, they don't want to go as far in what they're saying. Basically, they'll lay it out in titles, they'll throw out the innuendo. Something happened with Aquaman, but they won't go as far. That's interesting, right? I mean, if you look at Pop Topic, for example, they talked about sources behind the scenes that were emailing them. Again, this stuff is rumor, it's innuendo, so you take it how you will. You'll probably never have a real answer to what went on either. But Pop Topic, they quoted their source by saying that certain Aquaman starlet was determined. Notice that word there, determined to break that relationship up. And they go further, too. They quote sources plural, not one insider source, but sources plural that say that the pair, Momoa, that certain Aquaman starlet, they had been seen together, openly flirting behind the scenes on the movies. And their source, they go much, much further, even quoting alleged conversation between the pair, saying that certain Aquaman starlet, they would latch on to Jason Momoa like a lovesick teen, while basically whispering things in their ears like, hey, you know what? You don't look really happy right now. You know, that relationship that you're in, you can do much better. And again, all of this, it can't be verified. But before you say, well, that's outside of the realm of possibilities, think about other relationships that certain Aquaman starlet has been involved in, high-profile relationships. Here's a quote from a band member that was involved with JD, for example, saying that looking back on the star's 14-year relationship with his former partner, whom he shares 2 children with, he says, well, she was a beautiful soul, a beautiful lady. He had something special with her, and he bleeped it up. Why did he bleep it up? Well, for the same thing that we're hearing about happening on that Aquaman set. Interesting, isn't it? But anyway, let me know what you think about this. I'm curious what we're going to see from mainstream outlets, if they're actually going to have the audacity to keep going forward when this news, it breaks, if it breaks at all. But yeah, let me know what you think about it. As always, appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work. Thank you for being here. Want to help out the channel? There are links in the description. Definitely check those out if you want to go that extra mile. But you being here, that matters. So thank you. Appreciate you. Ending here. See you soon.